Hello everyone, this is my Xiegu X6100 radio. This is going to be my review of this radio in 2023. Okay, as you can see, I have the RF gain set to 74. I'm going to lower that down to 63. Okay, see that y'all? This is on 10 meters FM. At first I thought that could have been a station. It could have been, I'm not sure. But this radio is just a really nice radio. It has all the way from 160 meters all the way up to 6 meters, y'all. So this is 10 meters. And then all you have to do is click the band switch. That quick, that easy. And that's 6 meters. Sometimes of course, 6 meters is VHF. Sometimes you could have band openings on 6 meters, which I've never been able to talk on 6 meters yet, but that would be pretty cool too. There's sometimes band openings on 6 meters. Not only that, but you have 160 meters. You have 80 meters. Look at all these strong stations. That's an AM station, y'all.
For quite a while to take them down. I want to restore the
Listen how nice that sounds on AM. Something that I love about this radio is that noise reduction. That's a really nice benefit of this radio is that noise reduction. Listen to it without it.
August, September, October, I'm not sure.
Hear all that static? It's still a good receiver without the noise reduction. But listen to the noise reduction. Listen. That's just on 0. Watch this. It really reduced that sound, that static. What you could hear is probably my power supply, possibly. The sound in the background of the signal. Then you have your 60 meters. It's somewhere around there. It's in 60 meters. I don't have it programmed to the memory channels. I don't really use 60 meters, but I probably should program my memory channels in so I could use 60 meters more. This right here is 40 meters. We'll turn noise reduction off for a second. But 40 meters is nice. So I apologize for the noise. This right here is 30 meters. Then you have 20 meters. The coolest thing, I think, one of the coolest things about this radio is that really nice waterfall display. Helps you to really know where the signals are. That scope is what I mean. And that waterfall display. See really good signals coming through. That's the first signal on 17 meters I heard today. That's pretty neat. That means the upper bands are coming through now. There's 15 meters. There might be some signals coming through there too. I'm not sure yet. 12 meters and 10 meters and 6 meters, y'all. Now, this radio, it can perform digital modes as well. It has its own built-in sound card, which is super good for this radio. It has its own built-in antenna tuner as well. Not only that, it scans the frequencies. I'll go to 28.627 just to see, just to show you how it scans the frequencies to see what the SWR is. By the way, I'm making sure charger is off when I'm using the radio. Okay. Now, because it has to be off when I'm using my radio, that way it doesn't damage the radio with the charger setting on. Now I'm going to click app and then SWR scan. As you can see, the SWR, you can hear my fan of my radio, my power supply coming on. The SWR don't look too good. It doesn't look too good. So I could tune that though, I believe. I'm gonna hold the tune button down. By the way, I wouldn't tune it if it was up above 4 or around 4. I wouldn't even tune it unless it was below 4. I'm gonna tune my radio. Now it's under 2. So it should be under 2 SWR. For example, I'll show you right here. This is Kilo Mike 4 Sierra Victor Delta, checking my SWR. Okay, it is under 2. Alrighty. So that is a 20-meter dipole antenna that's tuned on 10 meters. I probably wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend more resonant, antennas. But it seems to tune it remarkably well for a 20-meter dipole on all the, pretty much the other bands. Let's see what 40 meters is like. Sorry for the noise on 30 meters.
Yeah, and then I got the...
Let's see here. There's an open area. I'm going to turn my antenna tuner off. I'm going to click SWR scan. Yep, way too high. The SWR is way too high. I'm not even going to try to tune it. Because, by the way, y'all, if you try to tune it with the SWR up that close to 4, it'll shut the radio off when you use the antenna tuner. And if you do not have your power supply or any other battery to plug into here, the radio will not come back on. That is what I have found, unless you plug in the power supply and then you can turn it back on. That's what I have found. I think it's a mechanism on this radio to protect the radio circuitry or something like that, which can be a good thing, but can also be an inconvenience if you do not have a plug. When you are, like, if I was camping or something and I didn't have a plug and I only had the 5 watts, then that would be pretty much a radio that's not usable if it won't turn on. Unless there's like a set time limit where it comes back on, but I think it's just it protects the radio by shutting off. That's why if I did camp, I would have a backup battery to plug into this if I needed, a backup battery. But this radio, though, overall, I like the display a lot. It's a nice, decent sized display. I like this radio a lot. My G90 radio is a nice radio as well, and it has 20 watts. This has 10 watts. Let me show you. See, I could put up to 10 watts. I have my power supply on. It has to have the power supply on to have 10 watts, y'all. And a lot of times on digital modes, it goes up to 12 watts, believe it or not. Maybe even slightly, maybe 12.5 watts. I'm not exactly sure about that, but at least up to 12 watts, usually, on digital modes, which is super fantastic. To get even more than 10 watts out of this radio is pretty nice. It's only 8 watts away from 20 watts then if it's on 12 watts. Now, I have found that if you use a resonant antenna that has a 1 SWR, you can get the full 5 watts. Actually, the cool thing is you can get above 5 watts out of this radio if you're using just the battery. Above 5 watts. But if you're having to tune like an in-fed antenna and the SWR after you tune it is still about 1 or 2, it'll lower the power level, I think, to protect the radio again. It would lower the power level to about 4.5 watts probably. But me, I like to see on the meter, this little power meter here, I like to see above 5 watts when it's just on battery. Like when it's on 5 watts, I like to see it above 5 watts, which is pretty cool because it helps me to feel like I'm going to make more contacts with it slightly above 5 watts. It's just how I feel sometimes, like slightly above 5 watts, and I should make some nice contacts. Now, you could also put up to 10 watts, which is super cool. The power level will be all the way at the end, which is 10 watts. Technically, it goes around 12 watts when it's on my power supply. But anyways, y'all, I really like this radio a lot. It's a really nice radio. It has a modem where you can send out CW, BPSK, and RTTY, and it decodes all of that for you as well. And you could hook up a keyboard and type all that, I'm pretty sure, and a mouse, and use your mouse and keyboard, I'm pretty sure, which is super fantastic and neat. And I need to try to practice with RTTY, or RTTY, CW, and BPSK on this radio, which I haven't yet, but that would be pretty cool. It's like sending out your own messages. By the way, there is a R1CBU firmware that I also use for this radio with my SD card that I plug into this radio, and that's a fantastic CW decoder. That is one of, and I think when you practice with CW, when I practice with CW on this radio, on the R1CBU software, I think it decodes my own, Morse code for me, like in training mode on this radio, I'm pretty sure, which is super cool. But I will say that CW decoder is super good on R1CBU. And this radio recently had an update. It recently has a new update that I downloaded for this radio. And maybe they made the CW decoder even better, because I know the R1CBU, for me at least, works better than this, natural built-in CW decoder. Right there, excuse me. So, hopefully they'll, if they haven't already fixed it, hopefully they'll make this CW decoder as good as the R1CBU decoder. Anyways, y'all, this is Josh Hayes. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed this radio review of my Xiegu X6100 radio. Have a wonderful day, and 73. Thank you very much. God bless you.